Hello, my name's Rosie and I'd like to tell you my story. I'll take you to 1979, and my life, I thought up to then, was pretty good, and then we had a series of things happen. To start with, I was 5 months pregnant with our eldest son, and my sister was killed in a horse riding accident. We then had the birth of our son, and 6 weeks after that, my sister that had died, dog, attacked the pram and attacked my son and bit a huge hole out the back of his head. And I just carried on. I just kept going and life just seemed to carry on. I then had to move. My mother got cancer and we had a year that just went from bad to worse. I was having panic attacks. I didn't know how to get out of bed in the morning, and I just was at the end of myself. And I got my husband to take me to the doctor because I was so frightened that I was actually going to commit suicide. From that, I was put on pills and I rattled. I was on antidepressants, I was on tranquilizers, I was on sleeping pills, and it was a bit of a blur, if I'm absolutely honest. I had a friend that I'd met at where we'd moved to, who seemed to just turn up at the right time when I was just about to have a complete fit or not be able to put a meal on the table. This friend would turn up with a meal. This friend would turn up and take my children off me. And she was absolutely super. During the depression, I was trying to cook a main meal at the middle of the day, and I couldn't even put it on the table. My husband by this time was despairing. My marriage was really, really bad. And he told me that I'd really got to pull myself together. I went off in a temper and I actually got on a bike for some reason and thought, right, I'm going down to local church. I went down to local church, it was locked. Why I wanted to go down to the church, I have no idea. And I can remember crying on the way back on my bike thinking, actually, if there's a God, he's got to be bigger than going into a building. And so that was just a little thought. Anyway, this friend that kept on continuing to turn up just when she was needed said to me one day, why don't you come down to the Lent course we're having in our local church? And I said, what's Lent? I've never heard of Lent. And she said, well, just come down, there's a talk going on there. Well, I didn't know anything. As far as I was concerned, God was a big thing in the sky, Jesus was Christmas, and I'd never heard of the Holy Spirit. So I have to say I knew nothing. So I thought, okay, I can't feel any worse. So I went to this meeting, and as I sat there, everything seemed to be about me. It just seemed to just touch my very core of my being, and I could relate. And with the depression, I couldn't relate to anything. I didn't feel anything, and I could just relate to what was being said. Anyway, I was driving home and I thought, I feel drunk. This is crazy. How can I feel drunk? I'm depressed. And I got home and I thought, oh, in the morning I am going to feel absolutely dreadful again. I'm going to be depressed and I'm back to square one. I woke up in the morning feeling more drunk than I'd felt the night before. I phoned my friend and said, what on earth is going on? I feel drunk, something's happened to me. And she said, oh, I'll get the vicar to come and see you. And he came up and he explained that actually it was the Holy Spirit. And from there, I gave my life to the Lord. I was then put into a program of psychotherapy, literally starting that next week. I didn't know, and it was all planned before, but actually it was run by a Christian, and so I had this new thing of having like a new faith, but also having my life sort of taken apart with the psychotherapy. But through both, my marriage improved, and I can now say I've been married 35 years. It hasn't been a great journey, it's had its ups and downs, and I've still got a long way to go. But I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for the Lord.